Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to share with you some of the quilts that I've made tutorials on, and I'm specifically going to talk about fall panel quilts. At first I'm going to show you the ones I do have the tutorials on, then I'm going to share with you some of my own personal ones that I've made for myself over the years. Now these are mostly panel fabrics that I'm showing you. And if you're not sure what panel fabric is, this is one piece of fabric that you purchase, preferably, or what I should say, mostly you find them in quilt shops. Sometimes you'll find them at Joann Fabrics and Crafts. So what I've done is I added this yellow border on first, and then I took pieces of scrap fabric that I had, and they're all different size shapes, and I stitched it around the edge for a second border. It also has traditional quilt binding on the edges, and I'm also going to leave a link below your YouTube screen for how to put on quilt binding in case you would like to learn how to do that. The quilting stitches that I did myself, and I used the serpentine stitch using a walking foot, and I selected very dark thread because I purposely wanted the quilting stitches to show. Now let's take a look at some more. This is my most recent fall panel quilt, and again all I did was add two borders on it. The yellow was added on, but this other fabric out here with these little squares, this is called companion fabric. And often when you buy panel quilt, they'll have companion fabric sitting right next to it on the shelf. And so I bought some of the companion fabric and used it as the border, and I think it looks really great with this companion fabric or with this panel piece, and it was really easy to do. Now let's take a look at some of my other fall panel quilts that I've done. On this one I put 3 different border strips, this really light color, cream color, then the yellow, and then the green. The quilting stitches on it though I didn't do myself. I took it to a long arm quilter in a quilt shop, and she did a maple leaf stitch design all over this. And also I used traditional quilt binding on this one. So let me set this one aside and let's take a look at another one. This one was panel fabric that was really meant to be pillows. So you saw the 2 different squares there, but I wanted it all as one piece. I didn't want to cut it up. So I decided to turn it into this wall hanging. And on my wall hangings, I have a little sleeve, a fabric sleeve that's on the back up at the top so I can stitch a rod through it. And on this one, I added a double border, the green and then the orangey leaf fabric. Then up in the corner I've added squares with these little flowers that were machine appliqued on. And machine applique is not really that difficult to do. And so I have many videos on machine applique, so I'll also have a link to machine applique ones. On this one, I also did my own quilting stitches. So let me show you another one. Now on this one I do not have a tutorial on, but I wanted to share it with you. It's one of my favorites that I have made for myself, and this has sort of a fall Halloween feel to it. I love this one. Now this was way back when I was first learning how to quilt. So when I put it together, I didn't do the best job, but I just loved the panel piece in here. And so I added on this yellowish greenish plaid fabric on the border, and then I added these little squares up here at the top. I also stitched on little leaf patterns on the border, on this yellow fabric here. And then I'll have my cameraman take a close-up of this so that you can see. But I'll go ahead and take a look at the welcome and with the cat and the pumpkin. And I did quilting stitches in each one of the lines here. I went around the cat. I did the little line in between the legs. I went around all of the leaves in the vine and around all of the letters. It was very, very tedious, but it looks really great. So sometimes you will also find Halloween fabric or panel fabric too. So let's take a look at another one. And by the way, you can see, let me show the back before we go on to the next one. You can see all of the quilting stitches on this. Look at that. I was really tired when this one was done, but it really turned out good. I like the way it looks. Now this one, wow. This one was also very time consuming. I added the green border and then the leaf pattern border on it also. What's different about this one is I did hand embroidery on it. So up here where it says eat more pie, I did embroidery stitches over the words. They were pre-printed on there. Same thing on this one. And on the little, I forget what you call this thing, but anyway, you all know what it is. On the little feathers, I did hand embroidery over all of it. And you see all these little buttons? On the panel fabric, there were little circle dots of different size and different colors. I went through my button collection and I stitched buttons over the top of the circles that were on there. It took a very long time. I also stitched down in through here on the pumpkins. Now I'm going to show you the lower edge, the lower half I should say. There's all these little individual squares and I did embroidery stitches on it also, on everything. It was very, very tedious. This is back when I had good working use of my right hand. I can't do things like this anymore. But this was very tedious, but I enjoyed every minute of it. So let's take a look at another one. I love making wall hangings. And up here at the top, I stitched on these little loops and put buttons on them. And they have sort of a fall theme to the buttons. And you put a rod through this and you hang it on the wall. This was an apron panel piece, but I wanted to hang it up as a wall hanging. So these two squares here were recipe cards that came with it. And then I also did quilting stitches around almost everything in this one. And I thought this was so cute. So remember, the last three that I showed you, I do not have tutorials on, but the first three do have tutorials, and I'll have those links listed below your YouTube screen. So let me show you one other that has nothing to do with fall or any particular season. If you wanted to do a holiday quilt and you are a beginner, you could pick one of my beginner quilts like this. This is called a coin quilt. And you stitch strips together and then put a little border around it, and there you have a quilt. So you could buy a jelly roll and cut the pieces up, and the process I have for putting this together is very, very basic. And then get whatever border fabric you want on it. So it's a great way to get started into quilting. So make sure you check below your YouTube screen for the video links. And again, this is the coin quilt if you want to get started. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl. This is Manny. See you next time.